What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Titan sector. If you're a Titans fan, this is the place to be. The takes are hot, the passion is real, and the opinions are sure to collide. As always, I am Van, and I'm joined over here by my man Ghost. And today we got a good reactionary pod coming to you guys talking about some of the things that all of Titans fandom have been discussing lately. But before I kick it over to Ghost to explain that to you guys, I want to take a moment to remind you, do us a favor, hit that like button. It helps the algorithm out a lot. It helps push our content on social media out to all of the Titans fans. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, we'd love to have you. That would do us a huge favor as well. So thanks so much in advance for your efforts. Now, with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Ghost. And Ghost, tell everybody what we're going to be talking about today.
So we're going to start by kind of just talking about the preseason. We're going to kind of fold in some training camp in there, correlations, observations, that kind of stuff. We'll have a few topics about that. Then we'll segue into some winners and losers from the preseason game. And then we'll go into our final thoughts, and that will be the show. So that'll be the flow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's plenty to talk about with the preseason game, I feel like. And it's interesting to me that we come off of a preseason game, which I'm not a huge big believer that preseason matters, but we come off a preseason game where we win and it just seems like we're all complaining, you know?
Yeah.
So we're talking about Cam. Is that right? We're going to lead it off
Cam
with Cam
Ward. Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously Cam Ward and the Titans played San Francisco. Cam came out of that game 5 of 12 for 57 yards, which kind of like cued all the conversations afterwards.
Yeah.
The word bust being thrown around a lot. Some people were in the realm of like, oh, it's just preseason, first game. Other people impacted by other thoughts around that, like, oh, it's his second year. He's a first round pick. It's been chaotic. And I think our goal is to kind of just bring some like level-headed thinking to it, conversation around it, and then people can kind of take that for what it is, give us their thoughts or blast us or whatever they want to on. That's what it's all about. That's what the Titan sector is all about.
So 5 for 7.
Yep, 5 for 7, 57 yards. And I guess the first kind of topic we're going to talk about, is that a big deal or is that a little deal? Why? Anything surrounding that?
Well, that one's tough for me, to be honest with you, because I could swing both ways, and I don't want to just sit in the middle. So I would say that for me, it's slightly a big deal. I think we have to look at it in regards to the fact that Cam is going into his sophomore season. He does have a new system. He does have new coaching staff. He does have new weapons at his leisure to throw the ball to. Same backfield, right, with Tony and Tajay. I think all that stuff matters, but for me, it was less about the 5 for 7, 5 for 12 for 57 yards, just as a base stat line. And it was more about how it looked because, you know, when I was watching the game, what concerned me was the timing issues it seemed that he was having, the decision making. You know, obviously the real ugly one was that Will Levis-esque type play where he's extending it and trying to make something happen, and they call it intentional grounding. I mean, to me, it almost looked like a fumble, you know, out of the hand kind of a fumble thing. So I was happy. I was watching it on my phone from the car at the time doing family stuff. So I'm like, well, I'll take an intentional grounding. Like that's, you know, that's way better. Although I think that ball went out of bounds. So I don't know, but neither here nor there. I just, you know, it was concerning to me how it looked. And all the reports that came out of that game and people that you kind of listen to talking about he was rushing. It, you know, it looked like things were a bit rushed. And it leads me to kind of wonder, I just thought about this because I thought about it earlier, but it leads me to wonder if there's, you know, some of that trust issue hangover from last year with the offensive line play, being the quarterback that was sacked the most in the league. And, you know, I felt like we went through that with Will Levis, to be honest with you. I felt like Levis had that same problem, almost Sam Darnold seeing ghost kind of a thing. So I don't think that's the same thing that Cam has. It doesn't look like it. But yeah, it's a little bit of a big deal to me. Just because I think you need a good rebound game coming up against the Seahawks.
Yeah. I mean, I think it feels big. There's different. I think I lean little deal because I think preseason's a little deal. I think there's things that people don't think about a lot. You got a new coaching staff. You have new players. You have the youngest team, third youngest team in the NFL. They're trying to connect the dots. I think they had a good first drive. Things looked good. I think everybody would have felt good with a second drive that even looked like that. Just uneventful. You brought up the intentional grounding. To me, I feel like you take that tape back. You show Cam like, hey, get rid of it 5 to 10 yards sooner. I think he was trying to get rid of it, which we all want when things are raining down on him. It looked like it slipped. All of a sudden, it's an intentional grounding, possible fumble. I definitely think that could be painted as like a Will Levis-esque play.
You said that way better than me. Thank you.
I do think his intention was to get rid of the ball. Probably could have done it a little bit sooner when he didn't have somebody in his lap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that kind of deal. So I do think that particular play, which kind of exacerbated the whole game, everybody
100%.
really focused in on that. I think if that play doesn't happen, or people look at that as okay, we'll just chalk that up as a learning experience. He needs to get rid of it sooner, because we see positives. We see him checking it down. He's got to work on layering it in there a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Done with some touch. But last year he wasn't doing that. He was headhunting. Like, he was looking for the deep pass a lot of the time.
Correct.
So I do think it's a little deal because of, like we said, preseason game, all those other factors. I think it's easy to look at Cam, be like, first round pick, second year. I just don't think you can come in at his age with all that new around you and not consider this year 1.5. You know what I mean? I think it's really difficult to do that. So I do think we got to kind of give him some grace and kind of let this stuff shake out. Maybe see an actual game where they're game planning, where JFM is there, where Big Jeff is there. You know what I mean? So I want to lean little deal, but I am there are some concerns for sure.
Yeah, it's a little bit in the middle of the road for me, like 55-60% for me. And it's, one thing you said there is really interesting. And I had the same thought, but I saw somebody else post it on X, which was, can you imagine what the conversation would be, right, around the 49ers preseason game and Cam Ward's performance had he left the game after that first drive?
Yeah.
How much different would it be if that was the only drive we saw? And the other thing you brought up was the fact of that one play that just looked really ugly, and it's kind of one of those that can be shown on social media and talking points. So if either one of those two things would happen, how different would it be? And that's a very good point.
Absolutely. Another thing, kind of piggyback on that, is outside of that one, everything else, Saleh even said he made the right decisions. If he was a little sooner here, a little later here, threw a little lighter here, those little tweaks, completely different ball game. So you like to hear that from the head coach. I don't think he's going to fluff him up. Saleh doesn't seem like that kind of guy. So we'll see. I mean, he's got a tough test coming up in a preseason game against the Seahawks. I'm sure they're going to let him have it too. So we'll get to see him play a very good defense over there. And they've got a lot of depth for being previous Super Bowl winners. So
yeah, I mean, it's not easy what we're going up against in this preseason against three NFC playoff teams and the 49ers, Seahawks, and Bears. That is a tough gauntlet of a test. But, coming off last year's schedule, which ended up being one of the hardest schedules in the NFL, revamping this entire roster for the most part, and then going into a preseason game with a new coaching staff, I kind of dig that. I kind of want us to get the hard, I kind of want us to get as much of a challenge that we can in a preseason environment.
Absolutely.
Because that's what's going to really show us a test for when the games matter.
Yeah, definitely. And you want to be battle tested, especially you want to stress test this offense and defense. It's all new. Right now, it's like all new. They're still installing the offense, actually, and if we're being honest. So I think they said the defense is relatively installed. It's a matter of like technique and stuff. So in a vacuum, first drive, good. In a vacuum, second drive needs improvement. I think that's okay. So so what we will kind of like segue into, still relevant to the preseason game, is like what we're seeing in the preseason game, we only got one, so it's not a big sample size. In training camp, why is the disparity? Like, what do you think is kind of causing that?
It's tough to say. I mean, for me personally, I think that some of the familiarity might be part of it when you're just seeing your own guys all the time, and you're up against your defensive scheme. And granted, Sala calling defensive plays, Gus Bradley, they're throwing different stuff at the offense and different stuff at Cam, and they want to win the rep. I mean, you're not going out there to lose any rep,
Mm-hmm.
even in training camp. So it's a little bit difficult for me to say in regards to that, but I think that might have some of it to do. I mean, obviously, Cam bounces back from that performance against San Francisco and has his two best training camps,
Mm-hmm.
of the entire off season, and that's encouraging to see. But then you kind of see these other rumblings online of, well, is it really skewed because our defensive secondary is so bad now? All of a sudden,
Yeah.
which I don't buy into that narrative personally. I mean, yeah, we saw what they did against O'Rourke and the second stringers. San Francisco were pretty efficient, but it wasn't anything world beating, and it's the first preseason game,
Yeah.
So I kind of go back to that. There's cause for concern, um, but it's nothing that I'm just dying on a hill on right now.
Yeah. I mean, contrary to that, he's playing Big Jeff and JFM and Jermaine Johnson. You know what I mean? In practice, like he's still getting what we perceive to be the best part of our defense and performing.
Right.
So I mean, you can't just single out one group because of the preseason game where they may have struggled, where JFM and Big Jeff were not there. You know what I mean? It's just like it just like goes back and forth. You could go in circles. I think you really just got to take it for what it is. I think a little bit of it is, I mean, these guys go from weeks of no pads to pads to going with somebody else, speeds up, then going
Yeah.
to a game, speeds up.
Yeah.
Could explain off timing plays. You know what I mean? Also, again, some Cam made some bad choices, which is fine.
Yeah.
I've never in my life learned anything from doing something ever. So it's okay to make a mistake if you look at it as an opportunity to be better. So
100%. Yeah. Very well said.
That will kind of take us into our next conversation, which we touched on a little bit right there. Is it like cornerbacks bad, wide receivers really good, or is it like a new system? You know what I mean? Like you see all these rumblings. These are actually the rumblings you were talking about, where people are like, they didn't do good in San Francisco. Cam all of a sudden is very good. We all know he's a bust from San Francisco. How is this happening? Cornerbacks are bad. It makes no sense. Like that's their logic. It makes no sense to me.
I feel like I'm watching an episode of Seinfeld just then or something.
I'm very good at talking to myself. So
that was great. What are you talking about? People are watching. Here's what I would say, man. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I don't think it's any of the above. Like if this was Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, I'd choose D. Like, none of the first three options. I just think it was the first preseason game. I think that it's a brand new defensive secondary unit. We have Alontae Taylor, who played the nickel and is now playing on the outside. And that's what they've chosen. Hey, we're going to bring him here to be our outside corner. He can do it. And I believe the guy can do it. I think he fully can do it. I think Flott can be a good cornerback for us. I mean, he had, he allowed a lot of catches and he had a bad penalty on one of the drives. It was pass interference holding, one of the two. But regardless, it was the first live action against another team under the lights, that turned out to be under the lights, in the sun, under the lights. And yeah, I still have full belief in that unit. I understand the concern, but I don't understand anybody pushing a button after one flipping preseason game and a few drives. That makes no sense to me, because here's the deal. Even in a regular season game, I don't care if you're week 1, week 4, week 5, even in a regular season game, the first 1 or 2 or 3 drives of the game doesn't look the same as the 20th drive. It doesn't look the same as the 18th drive. Like, these guys sometimes settle in even in regular season, much less a preseason game where you're only going to be limited sample, right?
Hmm.
So, in regards to, are the cornerbacks that bad or wide receivers that good, vice versa? Again, I think we have a elevated wide receiver room for the Titans that we've had in the past. I think there's no doubting that. I think Carnell Tate's the real deal. I think Io Manor's vastly improved. I think the Dayball offensive system is vastly improved.
Hmm.
So I think it could be a little bit of everything, a little
Yeah.
mixture of potpourri, little bowl of
Hmm.
potpourri. And that's okay, quite frankly. But at the same time, we got to give it some time. We got to see. Now, if we're still having these conversations after the Bears preseason game heading into week 1 versus the Jets, maybe I could see why some of us fans would have our, little backside kind of tight walking into the stadium on Sunday.
Hmm. Well, I'm kind of there with you. I just don't think you can see free agency, see the corners come into no pad camp. Obviously, we saw all the highlights. I think the the receivers are playing the position they were meant to play. You got Flott switching positions. You got new defense. I think that's all fine. I think the margin for error is a little less with the wide receivers because they're already familiar with what they're doing. Um, that being said, I don't think you can immediately go, "Oh, I watched this preseason game. The cornerbacks sucked," and leave out the context of the defensive line was mostly our backups. You liked what you've seen from like Femi and stuff like that, but I just think that all matters. Like if they're actually game planning, if Salah's like actually calling plays and not, we all know they will go into these games and use the situations. You know what I mean? They're not like maybe they're in a red zone situation. They're experimenting with stuff because they're playing a real team. I think that matters. All of that context matters.
It
So
does. It does.
I think it's important to remember that when you're watching a preseason game and then you see the following game, and just because something lines up with some narrative you created in your head, that doesn't make it 100% true. I think cornerbacks are learning. I think the wide receivers are showing out in practice. I think once we start implementing more of a plan in these preseason games and start implementing more starters in these preseason games, which Salah said he's going to do, I project that we are going to see massive improvement by game 1. But I also anticipate an up and down season anyways. Like I'm pretty realistic on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Am I also in the wagon of I need to see it against other teams? I need to see it in games, especially real games? Absolutely. I think that's
100%.
fair. But just like I'm not going to let preseason like tarnish my opinion of a position group as I see it in training camp, I'm just not going to jump to any conclusions until like I actually see all cylinders firing on all cylinders or whatever, all gas, no brakes, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just see it. I in preseason, I want to see some highs. I'm understanding. I want to see some lows, and you hope they can fix it by week 1. And I'm sure there's going to be games where we struggle and stuff. I'm not thinking Super Bowl this year. I'm thinking maybe playoffs are a possibility.
Right.
I would love for that. That's my
Oh,
optimistic
absolutely.
projection.
Yeah.
But if we go 6 wins, I'm also like not going to be like calling for Cam Ward to be whatever cut or anything like that either. Because 6 wins is better than last year.
Yeah.
And this stuff takes time. I mean,
it does take time.
We saw a lot of good stuff in that game too. If people would get off of that negativity train on Cam Ward because of one drive or one play.
We did. And I think that it's very interesting to me. I know I started off the pod saying that 55-60%, it's a big deal. And I do think it's a big deal because the quarterback's a bit of a different position. It's the only one out there on the field. There's not 5 offensive linemen. There's not 3 or 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. He's the leader. It's where it all starts with him. And I think you do have to judge it a bit differently with what you see out of your quarterback to potentially lead you to some pause or concern if you have any. and then you kind of judge the context. But
Mhm.
let's remember, we're talking about preseason, man. And if anybody has ever stepped foot in a coaching position on any type of a football team at any level, I mean, at any level, even when you go back to playing as a kid, the preseason games, the way that those are planned and coached are not the same. It is not the same because your coaching staff is looking for very specific things that they've seen coming out of practices, that they've seen coming out of training camp, that they want to work on, that they want to see if they can actually do in a game setting against a different defense. Like, it's just not the same. So
Mhm.
it's going to, even if these next two preseason games just go horribly awry, let's just say, sky's falling. I'm still not going to be like, oh my God, this season's over. No, because the season hasn't even started.
Look how good the
You know,
49ers did, and they still lost. So that's how
I mean,
all over the place these preseason games can go.
yeah.
I mean, from a development standpoint, they probably looked pretty good, and then they lost. But I think you have to take it all with a grain of salt.
Well, here's the deal. Okay, a little recency here, and I know I interrupted your train of thought,
I
but
was just going to say Brian Callahan went 3-0. So
right. Yeah, he was undefeated, and we were like riding this high, and then look what happened in 2024.
Mhm.
But here's the thing, right? If we're going to be so hard on Cam Ward, then apparently Ty Simpson is the next Tom Brady after that first preseason game with the Rams. Okay.
Right.
Like if preseason matters that much, then everybody start buying stock in Ty Simpson rookie cards because it's going to pay
Chestnut
off
should be the next Derrick Henry based on some of his previous preseasons, dude. My brother was like, "Who's Chestnut?" I was like, "That guy's our preseason all-star. Is who Chestnut is. You keep watching and enjoy."
He is all-team preseason all-star.
Yeah. All right, man. So what we're going to do now? So we're going to kind of move into less training camp. Kind of talk about that. And we could talk about it ad nauseum, but we're going to go into winners and losers of that game, and just kind of balance it out, kind of look at it with a level eye. First one we're going to go to is Cam Ward. We kind of had him as a loser in a vacuum. let's calm down. I know we just said all this stuff. In a vacuum in this game.
Calm down.
Loser.
Calm down. Yeah, I think you have to put him in the loser category if you're gonna say, and I said this to you before. I hate using the word loser here, man.
Yeah.
Like, I should have looked in the thesaurus or something, but the opportunity is there for Cam to change the narrative, and that's why I put him in that category because I don't know, had it ended after the first drive, he wouldn't be here. But we had two more drives to look at, and it didn't go. Now, was it all Cam's fault? No, I don't think so. It never is just one player's fault.
Mhm.
But you have to look at it from the fact of what did we expect to see? I would just like to see more efficiency. Even if the results were completely boring,
Mhm.
I would have rather seen a bit more of an efficient performance from drive snap 1 to snap 25 or however many they got. So I think if you're looking for those pieces out of the preseason game, he's definitely one of them.
Yeah. Obviously we both kind of talked about him being a loser. Whatever, loser. Like I said, in a vacuum. I think when you look at that game, you would like to see him get rid of that ball on the intentional grounding a little sooner. Little sooner. We're not taught. He doesn't have somebody in his lap. The ball doesn't slip. He's not risking a fumble. I think that's a learning experience. I think you take that out, this all looks even a lot better. I think that really kind of widened people's eyes, like Will Levis. But I just don't think it's that. I think his intent was to do the right thing. I just don't think he did it at the right time.
Well said.
The rest of it, I mean, those are all coachable things. On that second drive, there was a lot of timing stuff. Could have been timing on the receiver. Could have been timing on Cam Ward. He admitted himself he was operating a little bit faster pace sometimes, or even a slower pace. And I think that comes with a new offense. So in a vacuum, in this game, obviously he'd probably get a 50%, which is an F, whatever. good drive. If it ended at that drive and he goes to the bench, I think we feel pretty good about the Seahawks. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, 100%.
he has all the ability to be a winner. This game didn't look so hot. If he learns something and comes back next week looking good, I'm cool with it.
Oh, absolutely. And what I really want to see is I want to see
This
Cam
week,
settle.
sorry.
Yes, right. I want to
Whatever.
see Cam settle into a trust with his offensive line coming off of last year where he was like the most sacked quarterback. And I think that we saw some good things out of the offensive line in the preseason game that we'll talk about. But I really want to see him come into a trust with them and, use that to step up into the pocket to deliver some throws and have more confidence there and not see ghost around him, so to speak. So, because I think sometimes you kind of see that, and then you kind of see him make, like you said, you make that decision to leave the pocket, and it feels like he thinks he can run out and run away, but it's a little too late, and somebody catches up to him from behind, which is what happened.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of bundle these next three. All losers. On the defense. Again, grain of salt in a vacuum. Losers this time. JFM's not in there. Big Jeff's not in there. Defense is not firing on all cylinders. Cordell Flott and Alontae Taylor need to be a little bit better. They need to not get so much padding, I think. They need to react a little faster. And it's timing stuff with them as well. And then Cody Barton. I think Cody Barton's been a loser maybe since he got here. He had some interceptions last year. He's struggling. He just doesn't make you feel super comfortable all the time. But that's where we're at on those three. Loser, loser, loser.
I think the cornerbacks we talked about, I think I already talked about those two, so I'm not going to just draw that out. I do still believe in them fully. I just think, again, what you put on tape in the first preseason game is not your best effort. I don't think if those guys were talking to their family, they say, that's what I wanted my first preseason game to look like. And so therefore, I just think it's easy pickings, really, because I actually think that the Titans did far more good than bad in that preseason game. And with Barton, I think it's just kind of one of those things for me where when you look at the defense and you see who we have in that second depth piece that played the majority of the game with Anthony Hill Jr. and James Williams at the linebacker spots, Barton sometimes, like, the biggest concern for Titans fans, this is nothing revolutionary, but it's his ability to stretch. It's his ability and his athletic ability, his speed and quickness to get kind of back and get off and assist and help those slant routes, those passing routes, get up, block, defend, that lateral type thing. And I'm right there with them. Like there was a couple of plays that you saw in the preseason game where you're like, man, he's late to that throw. There was a throw O'Rourke threw to his left, which was to Barton's right, and Barton was late to that. And the other thing that, man, I just really like grimaced when I saw was when he had that beautiful like blitz move and they had that great pass rush and he goes to sack O'Rourke and he just whoop, right over the top of him, And it's like, come on, man, this guy is not even like a starting quarterback in the league and he makes you look like this and you're a veteran. Like you got to know not to come at him, like that high. Yeah. like, you had an easy chance to get right into the freaking heart of the guy and he didn't do it. So, I don't know. It just stood out to me. Like he didn't, let me put it this way, right? Not using this word. He didn't capitalize on the opportunities that he was given in those snaps to separate himself in that linebacker room from those two young cats that I think are like dogs just working to get their opportunity to take his role. So that's why I'd put him there.
Absolutely. So that's really all of our losers, just because a lot of the other things just seemed like those seem to be outliers on the loser side or whatever. So we'll go ahead and swing into our winners, which we did. We thought we had a lot more good things than bad. And I think we need to give this guy a shout out. Femi looked good, man. It looked like he kind of picked up right where he left off before the injury. Fast, violent, everything you want to see from that guy. You want to see him close a little bit more. I think we've always wanted that from him. I think that'll happen in this defense. But we got him as a winner just because he kind of showed out there when he played.
Femi, man, looks the part. Like,
Superman, dude.
Can you imagine seeing that dude like walk off the bus? I mean, he's gotten even more jacked. So I had an opportunity. I took my son in the off season up to Nashville to Hattie B's where Femi was, and he was doing a signing event for fans. And so we got his signature. I got it back here on one of the new mini helmets. And it's interesting. That wasn't very long ago. I mean, that was literally probably May, I think. And Femi looks even bigger than he did then. So I'm like, this dude is working hard aside from just the pure aesthetics, he had an excellent game. Here's the thing: he's gone to his third position type now since college.
Mhm.
Outside linebacker, then a different defensive scheme last year, and now Salah's defensive scheme, where it's hand in the dirt. And I think that's gonna, man, I think that's gonna pay huge dividends for Femi. I have pretty positive expectations for what if he can stay healthy for what we see out of him. And he did. He played with he played a lot of snaps that game, by the way. He was playing deep in there and he played with a motor and a passion. And when he'd stuff it and he'd get in the backfield, stop a run, he'd get up celebrating like he had a sack, man. I love that on our team.
Absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll move on to, and I want to loop these two together because they're on the same position group, but you'll love to hear it. We got JC Latham and Fernando Carmona, who's
Carmona.
sounding like he might have the inside track to starting right guard, which would be a beautiful thing for this line if he starts looking more and more that part. It kind of makes you feel less worried moving forward. So we'll definitely call him out for looking good and being a winner in that game.
What did you think about Latham? I know you're about to take a drink, but from all of the flack that he has taken, all of the flack that he's taken from Titans fans, and some of it rightfully so. What did you think about what he put on against the Niners?
I think he is, what it kind of reminds me of? And it reminds me of Derrick Henry. Remember when Derrick Henry, he actually was just on the Pivot podcast talking about it, how he just wasn't preparing the right way, wasn't doing the right things, wasn't going the extra mile.
Yeah.
And he got benched. And Latham never got benched, but he got injured and maybe had some time to think because he has come back and you can see it in his press conferences. He's got a mind. He has a whole mentality change, and you can see it in his play. He's just more violent in his hands. He's kind of like using his stature, how you would expect somebody with his stature to use it. And he just looks a lot better. You know what I mean? Just not getting pushed around. He's doing the pushing. Right when that ball moves, he is like in that guy's face. So I love what I'm seeing. I hope he continues doing that because it's be an absolute bummer to miss on it. Like I was skeptical going with him in the first round anyways.
Sure.
That's a carryover from Callahan, O-line God or whatever, which was maybe the biggest disappointment but that whole era. But no, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing from JC Latham. And I want the guy to succeed because we can't miss on that high of a pick.
No, we can't. And I'm going to take a bit of a different angle that I would love for people to tell me in the comments or wherever they see this, what they think about this. And you tell me what you think. But this is something I thought about, right? So last season, Latham was lined up at right tackle, back to right tackle. And who did he have beside him? He had Kevin Zeitler, right? The old weathered guard, right? The senior veteran in his mid-30s with a family, so many kids, and a reliable presence. And Latham going through, what was it, a second season, but going through some struggles, right? I don't know how much that connectivity between those two guys on a personal level, like on a locker room level, how much do you think those two guys really connected? And how much do you think that Zeitler really pushed or helped to try to elevate Latham? One thing that stood out so much to me in Latham's most recent presser after training camp was how he talked about Carmona and how he talked about Carmona's accountability and how he's so open and honest about the things, the mistakes he makes, how he speaks, how he drives, how he pushes. And I just thought to myself, man, it is something that all the Titans should be super elated if Carmona coming out of that round ends up being our starting right guard. Heck yeah. Because I think the guy's a dog. He is a dog. Like he is one of those dudes on offensive line. I said it in a previous pod that you want to have. It reminds you of those OG offensive line groups of the Titans that we have. even back to the Oilers days. Like that's what this kid reminds me of currently. But you got two young guys now. Two young guys that are both in the same type of pathway of life, that are both in the same type of pathway in their career, both working towards a second contract. Okay. Both on a new team. And now they're lined up side by side. And you got somebody in Carmona that's a hard worker, play through the whistle.
They're both
I think that,
monsters.
dude,
I
I
just
think,
saw something online the other day about run right.
yeah.
It's like, all right, don't run to left anymore. We're running right now, which I'm cool with.
I think that that's going to be a sneaky thing. I think that pair, that duo, essentially is what I'm getting at. I think they're good for one another. You know, that offensive line group has to be tight knit. You look back at Taylor Lewan, Ben Jones, all those days of offensive line groups, and those groups, those were the guys that led the team. So that's what we need those guys to do. They had a great preseason game. Let's keep the train running. It was definitely a win.
So we'll move on to the next. We're going to do two together. Same
Okay.
group, just kind of same thing. Tyjae Spears and Nick Singleton. So
Yeah.
I think for me, Tyjae, what the hell ever. So dude, you put a Y there, I'm saying Ty. That's what I think. But I mean, he looked good, man. I think he finally has an offense that's going to like cater to like what he's good at. He's amazing. He's really good at receiving out of the backfield. Dabble's absolutely going to do that. He's a fast guy. He's a patient guy. I think the better our O-line gets, the better he's going to look and the healthier he's going to stay. So I watched him in that game. I think it was 8. I don't know. He was like almost 9 yards per carry or something. 8.8. That's awesome. You love to see it. So he's a winner. And then Nick Singleton, I think you just got to give him some props. A little bit buried right now, but he's really kind of showing some stuff, and he's coming off injury, and I think he's only going to get better. And I think maybe sooner, but maybe midway through the season, we see a lot more Nick Singleton, and that boy can run. He's fast. So he's big and fast. So that's awesome. Love to see it.
I am super excited about Nick Singleton. I'm super excited about a healthy Tyjae Spears if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
Big winner just to see his electricity back on the field. You know, to see what Tyjae can bring to the offense. And I'm not going to just belabor the point. Everything you said, I totally agree with in regards to how Dable can use Tyjae in this offensive scheme. Singleton stood out to me for a couple of reasons. I mean, I already believe in the kid, but man, they really worked him. Like he had a lot. He had a lot of reps. In fact, it was super surprising. I even remember on the broadcast, I was watching the local Titans broadcast because it was available in my area, how they were like, man, we haven't even really seen Michael Carter or Chestnut. Oh, Chestnut's in for the first run. And I mean, we're late into the preseason game at that point. It was either late third or early fourth.
Mm-hmm.
So Singleton got he got a lot of run in that game. And I wonder what that was for, you know, from a coaching staff. That's what kind of intrigues me. What were they looking to get from that to see out of Singleton in that? And I hope what they saw is what they needed to see. We saw one bad spot in pass pro where he got Levis blown up because he got blown up. He got actually leveled, and hopefully a young running back will learn from that.
Absolutely.
But I think Singleton, the one thing I saw out of him that I liked was maybe a couple things. His motor. He finishes the runs. Like he doesn't just get impact and kind of fold. He gets a couple extra yards.
Mm-hmm.
And when he hits a hole, dude, he's got a burst. Like you hear Saleh say it in so many words, but he goes from here to there quick, man. He gets to that next level quick. And it's smooth, man. It's smooth. It's almost deceptive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so you love to see that. So
Absolutely.
I think he was a big winner.
So little side tangent here. So I think I've been seeing a trend with Borg that he likes that Kevin Winston Jr., Nick Singleton, Jeff Simmons kind of late value. Maybe they have an injury. Maybe they focus more on that health stuff and get some more of those like first and second round grade people in the third and fourth rounds and stuff. I mean, obviously Jeff was just later first, but same concept. And I'm all about that kind of stuff as long as they check out health wise. If they're going to be good to go and not have be a concern, bring them on because I'm excited for all of those guys, especially Big Jeff. I mean, Big Jeff goes without saying, but so we will finish up. We have one more winner from that game, and I think it is going to make everybody happy. We saved him for last because these poor kickers don't get a lot of shine, but he in that scrimmage did not do so hot with 2 of 2, but he was 4 of 4 in this game. And you got to be happy about that. Joey Sly is our last winner.
I was super happy about that because, that blue-white scrimmage, it was rough. It was really
I mean, they
rough.
brought in, what, 2 kickers the day after?
At least? Yeah. I thought they brought in more, to be honest with. No, they did bring in more. It was at least 3 because we put it up on the sector. I remember kind of going through those guys, but, they brought him in, and rightfully so, because it was ugly. But for Joey to come back and have a great practice session against the Niners, and then to come back against the preseason game and go 4 for 4, where he hit 53, 55, 58. I mean, and he made it look easy for the most part. The crazy thing, I think it was the 58-yarder. When he kicked that ball, it looked like it was going wide right by a mile. I mean, off the foot on the television broadcast, that thing was like this, and it just went like a golf shot. It was the craziest thing.
Yeah.
It was the craziest thing to see. But listen, here's the reality in today's NFL. You are better if you have a weapon as a place kicker that can hit from deep. Think about Cam Little, Brandon Arbery, and more kickers. But that is a weapon for any team in a close game in today's NFL. So
Absolutely.
if we can have Joey Sly back there at his best, that's just better for all of us.
Absolutely. So that is it for our winners and losers. So I guess we can just go into final thoughts on everything we talked about today.
Yeah. I think final thoughts, you got to, for me, you have to look at everything within context. That's what I would say. And let's not be too overreactionary. Let's look at what we really do understand on all of these players, winners, losers from certain groups, whatever it is you want to call it, and have the best perspective and be balanced as a fan base. And let's really understand what the preseason is meant for and what it's meant to accomplish. And let's not just jump off of any bridges, okay? Let's just understand where we're at, understand that we have a new system, and this team is growing together. A lot of times it's the small things that equal the big stuff. So we're building those small things right now, and I think we're getting there.
Absolutely.
That's what's important to me.
Same. Chill out, all you out there. Quit throwing around the word bust. I seriously don't believe the big leap. I don't think we'll see that till maybe next year, maybe even midway through the season. I think we're going to be more competitive just because of coaching alone. I think we're going to be in a lot more games. I think our offense is going to be a lot more exciting. I think they're going to have to iron out those kinks, not only in preseason, but as the season goes on. We're going to be tested quite a bit. We have a little bit easier schedule to do it. And I'm just excited to watch it. You know what I mean? I haven't been this excited about a team in a long time. A player like Cam Ward in a long time. I'm not ready to get in. I've never tapped out so quickly on a player. I rode the Will Levis thing for a while until I just was kind of like, oh my gosh. And I don't even think that was all his fault, but
yeah, same.
But I mean, here we are. So I'm going to watch preseason. I'm going to look for the good. There was a plenty of good to take from that game. I don't think you can ignore all of that just because of one bad drive with partial starters or whatever. So let's just pump the brakes. No brakes, remember? Except for this. Let's pump the brakes right now.
Right.
So, but yeah. I mean, that's kind of it. Just kind of chill out and don't overreact.
Well, we will see what happens on Sunday Night Football against the defending Super Bowl champions in a preseason setting. I think that's going to be another big test, like we mentioned before. 3 NFC playoff teams is a big thing. But what I hope to see is just growth week over week, to see this team continue to get to where they feel confident rolling into week 1 in Nissan Stadium. And that's when the fun begins, my friend.
That's right. Ready for it.
All right. You got anything else to say to everybody?
I don't.
All right.
Do not.
Well, guys, as always, we thank you so much for tuning in to another one of our episodes at the Titan Sector as we broke down all this stuff that's been going on in the preseason. We've got a lot more exciting content coming for you guys in the future, and we certainly hope you guys are enjoying it thus far. You can catch us every week Our new pod coming out on Mondays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Eastern. You can catch us over at X at the Titan Sector and on TikTok at the.titan.sector. And we certainly appreciate all of the constant engagement. We love it. We enjoy connecting with you guys, and we appreciate your time. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe button before you get out of here. And until next time, remember, take care of each other and tighten up.